Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the Sentry Tournament of Champions. This is going to be my DFS pick show. Also going to talk about my fades. I'm going to walk you guys through all 39 players, give you a good high-level understanding of who we want to play, who we don't want to play. With that, I will also give you my top 6 core plays at each pricing level from the DFS standpoint. So that's it. We got a lot to cover. So thanks for stopping by. Give me about 30 minutes and we will get through this so you are ready to make the best picks for your DFS lineups, at least from what I'm seeing. Okay, I've talked about PrizePicks a lot. I am still talking about them. I think it's a great way to diversify funds. And if you've not signed up, you need to do so today because they are still matching up to $100, 100% of whatever you put in. So you put 25 bucks in, you're going to get 25 free. Up to $100. All you need to do is use my promo code GolfGuru, and I do get a small spiff for this. And what I am doing is taking and have been keeping track of all the guys out there that have signed up, and ladies, thank you. And then I'm going to give that money back to the community when it comes to the Masters, do some kind of giveaways for that. Okay, with that said, I do have some prize picks for you. If you don't know what this is, it's real quickly, it's an over-under. They're taking Vegas projections, and I think on the golf side, they slack a little bit on that, as in I don't think Vegas really gives a crap about golf comparative. So I think it's, I've done very well on the golf side. So that said, for the Tournament Century of Champions tournament we got coming, I have a couple different things that I like. They do have, which they've added, where you can do fairways in regulation. They also have greens in regulation, and as I've told you guys, these are the largest greens that the PGA Tour plays. And with that said, I think there's some soft areas that we can hit here. So I'll talk about the first thing that I'm doing. I have picked Viktor Hovland to hit over 14 greens in regulation. So you got to take the par threes in consideration, right? But they're very large greens, so I think he can hit 15 greens in regulation. I got Colin Morikawa, same thing, needs to hit 15 greens in regulation. They got Brooks, where he just needs to hit 14. Typically very good with the irons. And again, I don't see any issues with these guys. And you got to pick one under. I mean, honestly, all these guys I wouldn't mind over, but I took Jordan, who they have at 14, where he, if you look at from an approach standpoint over his last 12 rounds of golf, him and Reed, you could go either or, have been the worst on approach within this field, like one of the worst. So, in short, that is what I'm doing. And I also do, if you lock it in, to get all 4 correct, which will 10x your money. But you can also do 3 out of 4, which wouldn't be a bad idea, just in case. You still, I think, would get, 5x if I'm serving my memory service correct. But you also have some other options, and another one that I liked is for the tournament, they have, of course, finishing. And so you have 39 players, so you got to keep that in mind. But I feel like this is pretty soft, too, that we could take advantage of. So I definitely like Colin Morikawa to end up 9th or better. So I'll take the under on 9.5. Jordan Spieth, again, you got to take it over. I like him finishing over 13th, so he needs to be 14th or worse. Again, Viktor Hovland, one of my picks that you'll see, and we'll talk about him. Definitely think he can go under 10th, so he needs, again, to be 9th or better. And then Patrick Reed in this field, even though Patrick has had a couple pop-up showings, I still think he won't do better than 13th. So I think he'll end up 14th or worse out of the 39-player field. So I did 2 different contests, and wanted to pass that on to you guys. Of course, after you watch this, make your own decisions. But that's who I'm going with from a prize pick standpoint. Okay. If you missed the preview show, of course, as always, I kind of break down from a stroke gain analysis. How do you win the Tournament of Champions? I kind of talked about this, and I'm going to kind of very quickly go over. But approach and putting, you can make them 1A, 1B. I like the driving distance here. Guys could take advantage of the shorter par 4s, the par 5s. They're crazy wide fairways, huge greens. So that is from a stroke gain. And then, of course, they have to score here, so birdies and eagles, and putting, again, 3-putt avoidance because of how large the greens are. You got to have some short game. You're going to see guys have opportunities to chip in for eagle here because they can drive the ball up to almost the fringe of the greens. So I like that too. And then, of course, quite a bit of sand on this course. So if, as I mentioned, if the wind doesn't blow, these guys should shoot somewhere around 24, 25 under, no problem. And then also, I always give you guys the comp courses. I did state that this is a par 73. It's a little different animal. It's the only par 73 they play on tour. But I am going to look when I, give you guys the analysis on this. I'll plug in these tournaments. These four, the Arnold Palmer, the API at Bay Hill. You got Wells Fargo at Quail. You got Sanderson Farms at CC of Jackson. And the Houston Open, when played, not at Memorial Park, but played at the CC of Houston. Those are all Bermuda greens. They are all over 7,400 yard tracks. I think all four of these courses, as I mentioned in the preview show, are probably tougher or are tougher than what they're going to be playing here at Kapalua. But I'm going to put those in just as a kind of a last kind of checkpoint. And then, of course, the Sony Open, not the same from a par or from a distance, but it is Hawaii. Another note that I did see that I didn't mention yesterday, that I guess they've had, I think, 12 inches of rain over in December at this course. So as I mentioned, it is typically wet conditions. They get quite a bit of rain in December or in the wintertime in Hawaii. So what does that mean? It means one thing, that you can stick the ball close to the pin on your approach, but on a negative side, you're losing some distance off the tee. So again, back to driving distance could come be a factor in some of who ends up doing well. So that's just a side note. Okay, with that said, let's go jump over to Fantasy National. Let's walk through all these players, and then we'll jump out and I'll give you my my top 6 plays. Okay, so we are over in Fantasy National. Again, if you're new here, starting the golf side, this is the major tool that I use from all the analysis standpoint. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for something that is specifically built for golf and has all the information you need in one spot, check out Fantasy National. Okay, we are going to be focusing on DraftKings pricing, but of course, all this information, all these picks, you could use if you are using FanDuel or Yahoo or whatever it is. Definitely feel free. Just so you know what we're going to be looking at here, I'm going to be looking at the last 12 rounds. So it's pretty much the last 3 tournaments these guys have played. As already stated in the preview show, this is a little unique because we haven't seen some of these guys for months. Some of these guys we've seen just a few weeks ago. So it's all different. So I always go off the most recent data we can have. That's why I picked 12 rounds, but you can pick, all the way up, all these different options, all the rounds, but again, I am a big proponent of recent form in golf. You could also put on all these different filters, which I am not, because once you click on these filters, you're going to get older data. Okay, with that said, I've created this view. I think it's I call it like a quick dashboard. It gives you stroke gain data. You can select what you want here. We're going to look at birdies gained. That's how many birdies have they made over the last 12 rounds. And then over here, recent results and tournament history. So that said, I'm going to be kind of breaking this down as mentioned. You've got one player coming in at 11,000, who is Jon Rahm. But I'm going to try to give you guys 6 main plays that you can, build actual DFS lineups with. I'm not going to, of course, just be picking all the top guys, because actually I think there's some guys we want to fade. And we'll talk about that. All right, so right off the bat, you got Jon Rahm at 11,000. If you look at this, the model rank is pulling up from my the model that I've created. What I am looking at, I've weighted approach, heavily putting, driving distance. I want to see who guys that do well, putting 25 feet out, and then ball striking, I put in. That kind of takes the driving and the approach all into one. But, it's something I just want to add in one more layer. And then you see this, you can see how many birdies they've made over the last 12 rounds. Okay, I think that's enough explanation. So right off the bat, if you're trying to make a decision on who you want to plug in from this top area, I'm going to be fading Jon Rahm. Now, typically, if you've been with me for a while, it's pretty rare that I will pick the number one most expensive player, especially Jon Rahm. You're not going to see it here under recent results, but this Fortinet Championship, which I believe that was a Safeway renamed or re-sponsored, he missed the cut. Now, that was due to he agreed to play in that event. I believe he was already out there in wine country, and but he was under the weather. I don't think it was COVID related. I think it was just due to some kind of flu-like symptoms or whatever. But he still teed it up, so I give him credit for that. He didn't WD. So I don't really hold that a lot. But also, if you look at some of the tournaments he played over in Europe, he did not do so well either. Now, of course, it's Jon Rahm, still number one player in the world, an amazing talent. This course would fit him. If I've seen some more golf out of Jon Rahm recently that, just would make me feel better, you can see from a model ranking over his last, tournaments, he's up there out of this field of 39. But out of the other guys that I know that I've seen and have done well historically in this event, so you can see also his tournament history here. His best finish, he had a runner up in 2018. He had a T7 here not too long ago, well, last year. And he's also had, in the FedEx, he had some good showings, right? So, you could definitely make an argument. I've kind of told you guys in the preview show, and I'm going to state this again, that I'm going with guys that have been playing competitive PGA sanctioned event golf at least within the last month or so, and that's the guys I'm going with that I know have been playing well. So just to give you that kind of there. So I'm going to pass on John Rahm. The next guy in, Morikawa, the guy's been amazing. I told you he won the DP World Tour Championship. I believe that's the last tournament that he's played against good competition. Let's go look at that real quick. So I pulled this up because, of course, Fantasy National and a lot of sites do not also take in European tour data, but I think it's something to take a look at. So, of course, I mentioned Morikawa, shot that 66, beat Rory. Rory was leading, I believe, by 5 strokes. Rory threw up that 74. Of course, ripped the shirt, that whole story. But that was a pretty strong field. You had Matt Fitzpatrick, you had Rory, you had Paul Casey, Ian Poulter. Just trying to see some other guys. Shane Lowry. You had Sergio, Terrell Hatton. You had Lucas Herbert, who's also going to be in this field, who won the Bermuda. Garrick Hago's in this field. I think it's always makes sense. Abraham Answer. So again, what I was getting to out of this, it was a strong field. Patrick Reed had a 32nd. There's Will Z, Michelzoli. Just I'm going through these guys, so save you guys the headache of going to look. But quite a few players that either are in this tournament or solid competition. Colin has been playing just outstanding golf, and that's the whole point of it. But I like Justin Thomas more. And as I kind of mentioned, JT for a while there was just his putter was an abomination. I've never seen such a disaster. But you could see really good show at the Mayakoba. Things started to make a little better comeback. Of course, he's won this thing twice. Had 2 third place, so he loves this course. If you want to even reference the PNC with the father son or whatever, played. I watched a bit of that. He plays some really good golf. Let's just go quick on Justin because he's someone that I'm definitely recommend. I mean, definitely hits the ball over 300 yards, so this is good. It's this here. It can get wayward, but he's worked on, I don't know if you want to call it a butter fade, but teeing the ball low. He can hit that kind of low hook now. He can hit that low fade. So he's got shots with the driver when he needs to pull it out. If he needs to hit fairways, I'm not so concerned with it here. You got very large fairways. You can see Bermuda is a positive putting surface for him, but that's probably the big thing. So if we go look at the putter, in Mayakoba, we don't have information, but I did get to watch quite a bit of that. He was making putts. He wasn't missing those 3-footers. But you can see he lost 3 strokes at the CJ Cup, gained almost 3 at the Tour Championship. So he was kind of on and off. At the Memorial, lost 8.5 strokes. So lost 6 strokes at the Valspar. I mean, a lot of these tournaments he would have won if he could have just been neutral with the putter. But that was really his Achilles heel. But I think he's kind of gotten over that, at least what I've seen here the last couple tournaments. So with that said, I like him. If you want, we already looked at what he's done at the Tournament of Champions. If I pull up the Sony, he has played it. He won it back in 2017. Funny enough, miscut in 2020. Then I don't know how many of these other tournaments. I mean, I know he's played in the API. Type in Arnold Palmer. Wow, that's actually been a while. That's kind of shocking. So I'm not even worried about that. What about, I know Wells Fargo, he's definitely played. He had a 26, a 21st. And again, this is just somewhat of comparable courses if you want to just see how he's done. But I think, a lot of this it's going to be a little difficult because, like I said, we haven't seen these guys in a while. And they also have not played. A lot of these guys don't play in some of these tournaments that I think are good comparable. So like Sanderson Farms, he hasn't played it since 2014. What about the Houston Open? He's never played the Houston Open. So not really anything there on that side. A lot of it just goes down to, is the putter better? We know he's got ridiculous short game, one of the better iron players on tour. from approach side, and you can see all that's represented. And you can just see the putter is what's been failing him, but it has gotten better. So I'm good there. DeChambeau, I think it's a real interesting play. You can see he's number one in my rank. And you can also see already projected ownership. But I think out of this field that I'm going to kind of pass. Now, when I say that, if you're putting one lineup in, I'm going to give you the guys that I really like. If you're making multiple lineups, you got 39 guys. Of course, take some shots on DeChambeau. Maybe I still have some thoughts of when I watch, as I kind of mentioned, the match with Brooks Koepka. But did he's also played? Let's see. Did he play? I also got the hero here. I don't think he. Yes, he did. Okay, so he played in the hero, which is a pretty good, sample. Right, that's a 4-day event with only 20 guys, and the best of the best. A lot of these guys are here. So I also pulled this up because another thing that Fantasy National is not going to bring in is this kind of non FedEx event. But it still gives us a look at these guys, and you can see DeChambeau, T14 out of 20 guys. So that's probably a little bit. So, just some things that I've been seeing. It's actually funny enough, and so you're not going to see this, but it's the putter recently with him that's made me nervous. Now, he's, of course, won the Arnold Palmer this year on Bermuda. The guy can putt. He's actually a pretty good putter. Well, let me go click on it just to pull it up real quick. Of course, leads in driving distance. You see Bermuda over his career is his best putting surface. Gains 0.25 strokes against the field. You can see here, over his life, he's gained with the putter. But right here, even at the FedEx playoffs, he had one really good outing with the putter at the BMW. Let's go take a look. I'm just curious what the surface is. That's bent. But struggled a little bit at the Tour Championship of the putter and also the Northern Trust. So, I've told you guys, it all comes down to, especially with these guys, whoever has a hot putter typically is either going to win it or be right there. And I just got to go with what I've been seeing lately. And so I would be off on DeChambeau again if I'm not doing a ton of lineups. Now, if you're putting in 20, 30 lineups, 10 lineups, yeah, throw them in there. I think he's a good starting position. But I would prefer Victor Hovland. Again, for a little bit less cost. I already mentioned he won the Hero. He won the Mayakoba. Only played here once last year and had a T31. So, if you're going off course history or, off one time. But, I think Victor Hovland's a different player. I think his short game, he's chipping. He's had some chip make-ins. His putter has been a lot better. Like I said, not so much represented here. But we'll go take a look. You see, again, since the Mayakoba, the guy's been in Fuego and making birdies. He's the number one ball striker over the last 3 tournaments he's been in. Of course, driving accuracy is no problem. I mean, if you want a guy that's on a tight course, is him. But I still like everything that he brings to the table. And you can see, the CJ Cup, we don't know what he did to Mayakoba, but I can tell you from what I saw, if you gain 15 strokes against the field, you definitely gain with the putter. You can see the putter has typically been his nemesis. We'll do one other thing let's see where he's won. So the Mayakoba, I believe that's Bermuda. It could be past Palm off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's Bermuda though. OHL, same thing. I think that's past Palm. Which is the Mayakoba, which is kind of funny. So that answers, that's got to be past Palm. Puerto Rico. So he likes playing. Also, I mean, you could really take a stretch and just say he really likes island courses because all these are coastal island courses. Trying to see where else he's done some of his best putting. So the CJ Cup, what was that? That was on Bent. That's Bent. That's POA. The Valspar would be Bermuda, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Of course, Bermuda Burns. Again, you could say there's nothing to the guys that, putt better on Bermuda or Bent or whatever, but I'm a believer that there's certain greens that you're just more comfortable with. Look at Max Homa when he plays on POA, all his wins on POA greens. The window, that's Bermuda. Houston Open, that's Bermuda. Wells Fargo, that's Bermuda. So, yeah, I mean, it shows here that it's his worst putting surface, but actually he has had some good showing. So Victor Hovland and Justin Thomas in this kind of 10,000 and up are my guys. Again, from a core standpoint. Patrick Cantlay, man, I mean, we just haven't seen the guy. And as far as I know, he hasn't played in anything competitive that I could find. I didn't do a ton of search, but everything that I know of, he has not played golf since the Tour Championship. But of course, right, he was in Fuego at the Tour Championship and the BMW. So if you're going off what we saw last, and then of course he won the Memorial with Rahm, of course, having to pull out on before Sunday's round, which he would have won that. And then you had the playoff between Mr. Morikawa and Cantlay, which I, of course, had money on Morikawa, but neither here or there. But yeah, you can see, I mean, he's been playing, some really good golf. I mean, he had the miscut at the Open. That was probably the only downer or black eye in a 23rd at the WGC St. Jude. But you can see, that's pretty crazy to actually lose strokes to the field and win a tournament. He went nuts, gaining 14 strokes. I think that's a record, if I remember correctly, at the BMW, gaining 14 strokes to the putter. I don't think that's ever been done before. So the putter has got hot. He did have a stint here, as you see back, late spring, early summer, where the putter was off. But we have no idea, right? I mean, the honest truth is that's a pretty nice price tag for Patrick Cantlay, but knowing that he has not played competitive golf in a few months. So kind of the same thing with Xander, right? At least he played the CJ Cup in the Zozo. And I don't know. Let me just see. I think he played. Yeah, so he did play at the Hero, had a T12. And that's part of it, I know he was on my cover. It wasn't mean I was picking him. I just liked that he was having a drink and celebrate when they won the Ryder Cup. But, very kind of blah for Xander. And I've literally seen where Xander comes off breaks, and he'll come right out and say, when he shoots like, one over or even or, struggles with his opening round, he'll just say, hey, yeah, I had rust. And he will work his way through it, as all these guys will. So, again, back to, at 9,500, I'm going to take a pass on Xander, Cantlay, Rahm, because of, hey, they haven't played competitive golf. So I'd rather go to Sam Burns, where, he played the Houston Open, the CJ Cup. He won Sanderson Farms, which was not long ago. Of course, he won Valspar earlier that year. The guy on Bermuda greens is just ridiculous. We'll go look at that. He's never played this because he has his first two wins this 2021. But, the guy does what I want at 9,100. It's pretty crazy that he's, more expensive than some of these other guys that we can look at. But you see gains over a half a stroke on the field when he putts on Bermuda. You can see a good putter, and he's just a great ball striker. All it took was that, kind of final validation win. And he came close, remember, at the Genesis, and then had this kind of rough patch where we all thought he'd win for sure, the Arnold Palmer of the Players. But it actually took me till he came back, which was awesome, because I picked him, I think he was 60-1, maybe 80-1, but 60-1 at the Valspar. And that was awesome odds that we got there. And now, of course, you're not getting those odds probably for a long time. But long story short, the guy's been in great form. You can see the Houston Open is 7th, Sanderson Farms. I'm just not going to plug in just so you can see some of the competitive or comp courses I was talking about. I will plug into Sony, just curious for my own. So funny enough, twice he's played there. He's had miscuts a little while ago. That's interesting. But that's a different track. That's, like I said, par 70, about 7,000 yards. It's like an RBC Heritage or Harbor Town. It's a very tight kind of navigate through the trees course. It's not just let it rip, man. That's what they're playing at Kapalua. All right. Moving along, Jordan Spieth. I picked him at the Hero as kind of, I think I picked 5 guys. He was kind of my 5th guy in. His game feels like it's kind of reverted back to sometimes maybe not know where the ball is going a little bit with the driver and approach. Like, it hasn't been good. And, I even one of you guys, one of my listeners, kind of told me that they were not excited about my Jordan Spieth pick. I think a bit of it was, his cost. I thought he'd be like a unique. And then also, I think his course history there was, like I said, good history at the hero. I believe that's what it was for. So, but you can see nothing really to write home about, and I'm just going to put it to that. I mean, I'll click on Jordan Spieth. You can take a look, see what's been going on. In my mind, it's this: the putter has not been where it needs to be, and then look at the approach. His irons have just, and then off the tees went a little wacky too. So hey, he's had quite a bit of time. I mentioned he was at the Hero, came in I think dead last. Yep, even behind Henrik Stenson, which that's crazy. And I do not think he played in the DP, if I remember right, that I know of. I'll just take one quick little glance. Nope. So the last time we would have seen him was at the Hero, and it wasn't pretty. But again, it's been a little while. When was this? Early December. So it's been about a month since we've seen Jordan. But yeah, I'm going to be off on Jordan. Hideki, he won. The last time we saw him, he won the Zozo. When it comes down to Hideki, typically, I like him when you need a guy, again, that has to hit fairways and greens. A lot like a Victor Hovland or a Corey Connors. It could be called an Asian Corey Connors, honestly. Like, it's just the putter. And if the putter goes, he wins. And of course, again, we don't know, but gaining 16 strokes against the field, if I remember correctly, a bit of that was done with some decent long putts. You can see the last time he gained with the putter before that was the Northern Trust. And then he almost won. Yeah, so there was that playoff for the WGC St. Jude, which I believe I also had Burns, who totally just... So Answer won it, right? But he got to see... I probably remember this. I think Answer made a 4 or 5 footer, and then Burns missed like a 3 footer on the same line. Again, I think that's how it went. It was just shocking. Long story short, though, you could see it's the putter. And, Hideki, I don't typically get him right. I'll just be honest. I didn't see him like at the Masters. So if this was fast bent greens, what I have learned with Hideki is that where it seems like his putter will show up, like the WGC St. Jude was really fast greens. For whatever reason, he does well on fast greens. These are not fast greens in Bermuda. So I'm going to go with that. I'm out on Hideki. Koepka, I already told you I'm betting him. I think he's not a bad play at all. I like Cameron Smith better, is where I'm going to fall. But honestly, I think his game has been coming back. We could take just a quick look at his stroking. Of course, typically on Bermuda, over his career, he's done well. Pretty good putter. And you can see over his last couple events, don't know at the Mayakoba, but he has game. But you can see where he started to falter. Wasn't so much with ball striking this year. Of course, he had that nice little run here in the June timeframe. But if the putter's going, he's an aggressive putter. And I like that. I'm a fan of a guy that isn't afraid about the 3 or 4 foot comebacker. So I don't think Koepka's a bad play at all. I just, again, have I'm going to go with Cameron Smith over that. And then real quick, Berger. He also played at the Hero and had a pretty good showing. Yeah, T7. I think he was leading after day one, or tied for the lead. Yeah, he was tied with Abraham Ancer and Rory after day one of the Hero. So Berger, good fit. Nothing. He's got a 10th and 11th and a 14th playing here in the past. Where I was going was just nothing recently you could say, hey. But when I think also a little bit like Burns, when I think of Bermuda, I think of Berger. Let me just confirm that. Did we look at that already? Yeah, he gains. What's he average? Almost 300 off tee. All around, he's a solid ball striker. You can see this stuff isn't going to look so good, but that's pulling up a bit of the FedEx, right? Well, really, it's focusing on these 3 tournaments. It doesn't show. It's not including these, so don't get too worried. But I think Berger's a fine play too. But again, I'm all over Cam Smith. I'm a little bit of a Cam Smith slappy. I mean, I've been on this guy since the previous FedEx Cup. He kind of came out of nowhere, just made it in, and he just had it. And since then, I think he's playing great golf. Of course, I mentioned in the preview show his only win as an individual tournament on the PGA was the Sony Open a couple years back. Crazy windy conditions, so the wind does blow, and I have not checked weather there yet. I probably should do so. I'll do that for tomorrow. But the guy's been playing fantastic golf. You can see, illustrated here The guy, is just a great short game putter. Typically, what makes me nervous with Cam Smith is sometimes the driver gets a little wayward, but here I'm not worried about it. You can see right here, this is typically his problem off the tee. And you can see that showing up a little bit. The Houston Open, it really kind of hurt him. I'm trying to think, the Northern Trust, maybe there was a tournament, maybe it was a WGC where he was in contention to win and then just took like a crazy number on like the finishing hole. It all kind of blends together. But long story short, I think Cam Smith is my play at that lower mid 8,000 range. Sungjae Im, we haven't seen him in a while since the Houston Open. I think he also played. I take that back. I think he played at the Hero. Nope, he did not. I thought he did. So yeah, the last time we would have seen him was at the Houston Open, which is kind of crazy again, right? That he's taken a little bit of time off, or could have played in more events, hasn't. I mean, the guy he's a solid golfer. There's you can make, but I got to go with what I've seen recently, and I've got nothing crazy take on Sungjae Im on why you wouldn't play him. You can see on Bermuda, he typically gains, so there's a positive there. You can see the putter over to, has not been where we want to see it. He had one good showing at the Shriners, which he won, and that's pretty typical for Sungjae Im. If he gains, a few strokes with the putter, he's going to be relevant, right? You see it here, gained 6 at the BMW, his third. Gained 5, won the Shriners, which that's a scoring fest. I mean, you can make quite a few arguments. I will put it this way. I will not be fading Sungjae Im. I will probably sprinkle him in some of my lineups, but he's not one of my core plays. So I'll just leave it at that. I guess your decision could be Cam Smith or Sungjae Im. Mr. Abraham Answer, he did play at the Hero. Yes, he had a T14. So nothing too great there. Abe's let me down a little bit. He used to be like one of the best Sunday showdown players, but something's been going on. Oh, that's not his information. I apologize. On Sundays that he has not been doing that well. You can see, missed a cut at Shriners. Last time we saw him, well, except for at the Hero, the Mayakoba, decent showings. But you got to remember the Mayakoba, that's out of 20 guys. CJ Cup, that's out of like 80 guys or players. Played her once before, had a T17. His game just hasn't been. It's just kind of, I don't think Abe Answer is a guy when we need a scoring fest, hence the Shriners, that he's the guy I want playing. He's the guy I want to play on a tough track, shorter track. So he won the WGC St. Jude, which fits that bill. Like I like him at like the RSM or the RBC Heritage. Give me even the Players. I could see him being, a good play there, but not when it's a scoring fest and it's all about, who's going to have the most opportunities because they can drive the ball, a little further than average and have shorter irons. So yeah, I'm out on Abe. Tony Finau is kind of just, he won. You're not going to see it here, but of course, right, he won the Northern Trust. I'd say his real first victory, or I know he won the Puerto Rico Open, but I mean, it's the Puerto Rico Open. I mean, I think that was his first big win, and we were looking for good things. I mean, he had a decent FedEx showing, but then he's kind of fallen apart, right? Missed a cut at the Houston, a 45th at Mayakoba. Like, that's not that good of a field. The CJ Cup, that's worse than half. So I'm kind of out on Tony. Again, it's it's a bit with the putter with him, as we can see here, right, over his life. And you can see his last 3 events, back to being, when he won the Northern Trust, he got the putter going. Let's take a look. What was the surface at Liberty National? It was bent. Again, just curious. And then the BMW, I might have already looked at that, was bent too. So Bermuda, he lost 3.5 strokes. Mayakoba, we don't know, but I'm guessing he didn't gain with the putter. The CJ Cup, that was bent, so you can't really do a correlation. And then the Tour Championship at East Lake, that's Bermuda. So you can make a little bit of argument. A few of these have been Bermuda where he's lost strokes. I don't know. I mean, if I click on, you can take a quick look. Shriners is Bermuda. So this is his worst putting performances. Shriners, the Players, Valspar. I'm just picking ones that I know for sure. The Memorial, I think that's actual bent at Murfield. Yeah. Long story short, again, you've got 39 guys. I'm out on him. Patrick Reed, he's actually made a little bit. He's shown some things, right? So at the Hero, we had this T3, and maybe that's what I'm going on. Out of this, it's a pretty elite 20 guy field. He actually played some good golf. Before that, he was not good. I mean, you can see here the Houston Open at 61, 56. He couldn't control the driver. His short game, I think, all year has not been where we want Patrick Reed's short game, and that's one of his elite tools. It was never driving the ball long and straight. It was never he had the best irons. He was just a grinder, and how he grinded was his short game. And over the 2021 season, it wasn't up to Patrick Reed's standards. Hence why he didn't make the Ryder Cup. I think he won the Farmers back. Oh, geez, what was that? February? Let's go take a look here. Yeah, okay. End of January. Had a pretty decent showing here at the beginning of the year. And then it was pretty rough. Yeah, I mean, at the Rocket Mortgage, that field is not good. And it ended up with a 32nd, and nothing. So the short of it is, you never know, right? These guys could turn it on a dime. And we have seen some hints of better golf out of Patrick Reed. But, 7,900, that's one thing. You're going to build some really good name lineups with the pricing, when you get these kind of fields. But no, I'm going to be out. Harris English, of course, past winner last year. I think won the, oh geez, not the Safeway. What was the tournament that he went to? The Travelers. Had some nice showings. Good showing at the U.S. Open. But I've watched a bit of Harris English, and he's off. And so I'm off on Harris. I guess simplest way to put it. I mean, I can real quickly go through the stroke gain data with you so you can see. But, typically he's a really good putter. And you can see lost 6 strokes at Shriners. Gained a little bit, at least we'll call it neutral. His last good showings was early in the FedEx. But yeah, typically the putter and the irons is where he can do some damage, but it just hasn't been there. Kokrak is a tricky one. I was actually, for my best 6 plays, I'm not going to lie, it was between these two guys right here. I definitely will have some Kokrak. I'm not fading him. This course kind of fits what I would want for Jason Kokrak, where, he can use his length. Now, okay, I do remember now why I ended up. The reason why Gooch ended up, of course, Gooch been playing some really amazing golf, but Kokrak, you can make the argument, he won the Houston Open, that the player or the QB shootout with whatever, you can make whatever you want out of that. But he, pretty good FedEx Cup playoff, but he's terrible out of sand. And that's the one thing, there is quite a bit of sand. I'm sure you guys seen where, he's left shots right in the bunker next to the green. So that was it. If you want to we'll do a real quick look at Jason Kokrak. You can see this, has taken his whole career, but for the last year, right, he put the extra inch in the putter. He became such a way better putter. Won 3 times last year? Or maybe I'm thinking since the CJ Cup, right? So he won the Houston, Charles Schwab, in the CJ Cup. I mean, that's almost within a calendar year, if you want to put it that way. And you can see typically he needs the putter to just explode. The Houston Open, let's just confirm. Yeah, that's Bermuda. I just want to, because that's Memorial Park. Let's go back to this real quick. Charles Schwab, I think that's bent. Even though it's in Texas, that is bent. And then the Shadow Creek, that's bent. I was just trying to see if we could correlate something on Valspar. That's Bermuda. That's POA. That should be either bent or POA. Bent. Oh, that's a while ago. I didn't know it was that far ago. Neither here or there. I think, I could see either or, but I'm on Gooch. I kind of came up with Gooch and Burns, since, they came out of college and just kind of watched their career. And I've always thought they were very similar in their game. And just how, tee to green, they're elite. And it's just all about the putter. And I think Burns has been historically a better putter than Gooch. But you can see, he finally gained, like, that might be his best. Let's see what his best putting performance. Okay, he's had some up there. I was just curious because gaining 5 strokes with a putter is pretty unique. But of course, he won his first victory at the RSM, and had a good showing at the Houston. At the Players, that's Bermuda. Let's see here, Mayakoba, good showing. So yeah, overall, I like me some Burns. Just trying to see if we take a quick snapshot. So his last, so we got some November events in here. Irons. I always think of Burns on really tough courses, long, where you got to hit long irons is where you want to play him. But you can see he's been in Fuego with the irons, a little hit or miss. Now, remember, off the tee is taking distance and accuracy. So he is not super long by any stretch. I mean, he averages 300 yards, which that's all you need. But you see driving accuracy is a bit where you can get a little wayward. But again, we don't need guys to be super accurate here. So yeah, also you could look just tee to green, what he's done over his last 5 tournaments. If you look at his kind of sum, that's typically, so he's definitely been finding it again. Off the tee is where his little bugaboo could be. All right. I'm going to start moving through these a little quicker because I think we're getting, but I'm just going to let you guys also get to consume some of the data. Mark Leishman, I think, is a very interesting play. I was also between him. I think I have a bet on Leishman. I think it's 35-1. Leishman, I always look at Cam Smith and Leishman, very similar. If it's windy, they can play it. They're awesome short game, good putters. Of course, they're both from Australia. Of course, they play in partner events together. The one thing about Leishman that could get you super worried is the driver. But a lot like, if you want to play a cheaper Cam Smith, if you want kind of the same things that Cam Smith can do, you can plug in Leishman. I will be putting him in some of my lineups. So I'll just make that. And he's played here 4 times. He's had a 4th and a 7th. And you can see, he had a 3rd at a T3 at Shriners, a T4 at Fortinet. So he's been playing. I mean, at one time he was unplayable. Like, he was just a disaster. I think it was back at the Zozo CJ Cup the previous year, where like it was just unreal. But his game has been there. Kevin Na, this is not a Kevin Na course. I'll just put it that way, right? He won the Sony Open, so play him next week. I'll be shocked if somehow Kevin Na does anything here. I don't know. This must be a disqualified or something. But yeah, you can see right here, out of typically 40 guys, you can see where he finishes on this track. It's just, especially with a wet course, forget him. Billy Ho, that's, it's not when I think of Bermuda, I think of Billy. Billy can putt on Bermuda. Let me just go verify that. But everything off my memory, yeah, this is best putting surface. Also not a bad, long par 3s, which they have a few of them here, or a couple, is also something that Billy Ho does very well. And the putter, it's just what can he do, ball striking, and you can see kind of off and on. I'm curious. I didn't even really look into Billy Ho. I want to just take a quick gander. What has he been doing? But yeah, I mean, he won the Dell match play, which I picked him. So you'll see that on my kind of opener. And just so you guys know, all those guys that are in the opener was my picks from last year. Outright bets, the kind of the better odd ones is why that's on there. Yeah, I have no issues with playing Billy Ho. Siwoo Kim, man, it's been a minute. Typically, I think a shorter tracks, right? He won the Amex. He's one of the Players. This is not, again, I almost put him a little bit in the Na. He's a better ball striker than Na, but I just don't think this is a good fit for him. Cameron Champ, from a betting perspective, I told you I put a bet on him. I think it was 90-1. He's got the distance, just everything. His irons have been bad. His short game was horrific earlier, but he pulled it all together at the 3M Open, which was just amazing. But I think, I don't think it's a terrible play, but it's not my favorite in the 6,000. Max, I've kind of got to the point with Max that I just play him if it's a California course. That's it. That's where I'm at with Max right now. Also, there's, of course, he's won Wells Fargo, but when I when they're heading to the West Coast swing, I'll be playing some Max. Seamus Power has actually been playing some really good golf, and at this price tag, he's my favorite play in the 6,000 range. I'll let you guys know that right now. You can just see his results. He's never got to play this before, but of course he won the Barracuda, which is not going to come up, I'm pretty sure. The Barbasol. Those two I get mixed. So funny enough, they do have the Barbasol, but I'm almost 100% sure they did not show Barracuda in here. But you can kind of go through the Barbasol. That's been a keen trace. I was just curious where he's just from a Bermuda. Well, let's just see. He's a good putter. The guy's a good player, just all around. You can see, I guess off the tee and distance, you can see 294. I mean, he doesn't crush the ball, but we don't need. But typically, he's just solid, all around good golfer. And so from the picks that you've got here, I guess it's kind of funny that I'm a Max Homa guy, but he's just so up and down, and I just feel like if it's not on the West Coast, I'm going to kind of just fade Max. Phil Mickelson. I, of course, told you guys I bet him 130 to 1, I believe it is. Just on a pure just odds, right? I mean, why not? I think part of the reason, right, of course, we got the PGA was a long track. But that was really the last time we really seen him do anything noteworthy. I guess he had a good showing at WGC St. Jude. But what's going in my mind is that when he went over and played, of course, in the Champions Tour, he picked a couple tournaments that were longer, wide open tracks, and he won them both. Now, again, he's playing against the Champions Tour, but that's what, in my mind, kind of just said, hey, why not? Why not put a few shackles on Phil against, so is he also from a scoring perspective, he can get super crazy hot. He can definitely string together birdies and an eagle, but the problem is, right, he's going to string together those bogeys or even a double, but you don't have to worry about off the tee. And also he's, got that, 2 wood. So I'm not too worried about it. Garrick Hagel, I also bet, I don't think I mentioned that. He was like 150 to 1, something ridiculous, right when this came out a couple weeks ago. And then now it's like he's 70 to 1 or 80 to 1. So I just jumped on it. Right. I mean, I mentioned on yesterday's show, he's won, both his, of course, he won Palmetto, which, maybe you could tie some similarities. If I remember correctly, a longer track, a lot of sand, waste bunkers. But of course, his 2 wins on the European Tour, which got him over here, was, Canary Islands. And so, you could draw some coastal stuff. But yeah, not a bad play. Grace, no thank you. Just, you could see, right, he showed up on our radar. What was that? Like the U.S. Open or the PGA? Let me go see here. Now I'm curious. So they just showing at the Wyndham. Yeah, the U.S. Open where he made a charge. He had a little kind of run here between, back in the midsummer. Had a good showing at the Zozo. I mean, he could be a sneaky, play, but let me just see. Yeah, 294. Seeing what he's been doing. I mean, a lot of red. So nothing I can even point to that he's been doing well over the last 4 or 5 tournaments. Cam Davis, maybe in a showdown play, but he's also, you can see, just not been good. Pretty much since his one win, his first win at the Rocket Mortgage, it's been pretty rough, right? I mean, look at that. Wins and then just nothing. Nothing to write home about. But an elite talent, Tita Green, and again, Australian player who, if he gets win, he could be interesting. Lucas Herbert, like I said, I did pull him up. Also the last, what did he shoot here? Where are you at, Lucas? So even Garrick Higo, a 21st out of, how many guys were in this? I think it was like 80. Maybe not 80. But yeah, not for me. Just not my brand. Not what I'm looking for. You can see EVR. I mean, honestly, when I think of EVR, you talk about volatile, but that guy, he can go super in Fuego with the irons and with the putter. Right? He won. What was it? He won to get in, where he had some kind of run. I guess it was what did he? Oh, it's not here, right? So that's the Barracuda. think he won the Barracuda, which got him in, just like barely had enough to even make it to the FedEx playoffs, and then just had that crazy run in the FedEx playoffs, and then miscut the Shriners, which I'm sure a lot of people got burned. I think I probably didn't pick him. But let me just see where he's done his so WGC Mexico, the BMW has. I mean, his best finishes on tour at a show at the Palmetto, the Valero. So that's Palmetto is Bermuda. So I'm just looking at the last few times he put it on Bermuda, what he did. Okay. So EVR, I think from a again, I mean, can he go off? Yep. Joel Damon, he has been he's kind of just I feel like he's kind of a condom play, just kind of a safe play, but he is I don't like I said, the problem is I've seen him, he can get pretty in Fuego, but he won Corrales, which is that past Palm? It doesn't say. I'm pretty sure that's past Palm. Nothing really since the Houston Open. I mean, that's Bermuda. So since the Houston Open, that's Bermuda. So you can make something there. Kisner, no, thank you. You're a disaster. I'd rather play Glover. Stuart Sink is just hasn't been playing well, but man, he's actually a pretty good fit for this course. As in, he can drive it, he can hit the long stuff, but the putter's been terrible. Matt Jones. No, if it's a shorter track, I might be. I think KH Lee, to be honest. I bet him. I think at 6,000 bare min, he's your best play. If you're looking for a 6,000 guy, which I don't think you need to do, you got Kisner, Glover, Sink, Jones, KH Lee. I'd play KH Lee. He's been pretty damn good, tee to green. You can see also he's been playing well. Of course, he won the Byron Nelson at that TPC Craig Ranch. But yeah, the guy's been playing good golf, and I bet him. I guess I think he was 100 something. I forgot now exactly. So plug him in if you're looking for a guy at the bottom. All right, I think it's been too much time here. Let's wrap this thing up for you guys. Okay, so with that said, let's give you my top 6 DFS plays. Now, I mentioned other guys that I like, but I wanted to give you 6 that you could use as your core, build around them, but who I think will be my main core guys going in. Again, we only got 39 players, so I wasn't going to pick 15 guys for you. Off the bat, I like JT in that upper echelon. He's one of my favorite plays. Of course, elite history here. Won it a couple times, couple thirds. I got to see his putter at least a couple times. His back, from what I could see. So I like JT. Victor Hovland, of course, Mayakoba, the hero. I think he's a great play, especially from a pricing standpoint. Sam Burns, Bermuda, and he can just bomb away. Him, I think it's one of my favorite plays. Been playing good golf. We've got to see him. And then, of course, Cam Smith. This will, I can see arguments on why you wouldn't want to play Cam. Just like I said, he doesn't have the distance, but I think I don't have to worry about his driver here, and he can get pretty elite with the irons and his short game and his putting. And I told you guys, this is a bit of a putting contest. So, I'm trying to lean towards guys that I know putting. Of course, you got Gooch, which, he can go up and down with a putter, but lately he's been good. And like I said, I think him and Burns are like doppelgangers. Like, they look alike. I think their game's very similar. I think, if you guys did a kind of a draft or one and done, I like Gooch this year. I think he's going to be a great player. And Burns, of course. Last but not least, I'd round it out with Seamus Powers. And I also mentioned KH Lee. I was kind of in between the two, but I think Seamus all over is a better player. KH Lee can go so up or down. He could shoot a 63, or 60, low 60s, and then go out and shoot a 70-something. So that's, I feel like Seamus is a little more steady of a player. So that is my core 6 plays for DFS. And with that said, that's going to wrap up this show. Tomorrow I will come out and give you guys ownership projections, weather, anything you need to know before you guys lock in those final lineups. As always, if you do me the honor, please click the like button and share it with anybody else that you think might be interested in getting into the DFS golf or, would like just so much unwild entertainment that I provide. Hey, if you've not subscribed, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, I would appreciate it amazingly, greatly. Hit that subscribe button. And if I can help you guys out with anything, hit me up on YouTube comments or follow me at Twitter at DFS Golf Guru. The main reason why you would follow me is I don't tweet a lot out there, but I do keep an eye on withdrawals or anything I see that comes from the PGA Tour communications. I get it to you guys as soon as possible. That's why you'd want to follow me on Twitter. All right, guys, take care. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow and have a great day.